McKinney, Texas is the fastest growing city in the country. Right now the population is approaching 120,000 people. Nearly 10 years ago the population was about 37,000 people. So we've experienced a lot of growth.
The town of McKinney, Texas means everything to Bill. So many emotions, so many different experiences in life, growing up, best friends, which he still has to this day.
He came back from college with a used pickup and a little bit of money and probably a sack lunch and a toolbox. He started a business that has evolved into one of the leading in the state of Texas and in the country. And that's a great McKinney story, because we like that. We like the homegrown, so to speak, the homegrown boys to be able to stay here and make something of this community. And Bill is a leader in that.
Yeah, that bid's at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Back in the late 70s, early 80s, I was in basically the AC junk business, and just brokered recip compressors, condensers, chiller barrels, and a carrier dealer had gone out of business that same year. It was the fall of '80. And I just picked up the phone and called the carrier box distributor down here and inquired as to the availability of a dealership in McKinney. And one thing led to another, and I got the dealership. And so that began to take off. Then McKinney started to grow several years later, and we've just expanded and grown with it.
Bill makes a difference. And when I say he makes a difference in everything. The community, here at the office, with his relationships, his family.
He's a great father and a great boss, a great friend. Never have known anybody to be as giving as the guy is.
Just the other day I got out of my vehicle and there was a gentleman, probably 70 years old, that says Bill Joplin bought a van for the school that my great-grandchild goes to.
Every year we go out in the community, and we look at the nonprofits and see what their needs are. We check with them throughout the year, and we've donated to what needs need to be met this year to make a difference.
In return for working hard and receiving, you also give back. And that's been our biggest success, is don't forget to give back and help other people.
He's given a lot to the community over the years, quietly, behind the scenes, but just a good guy. And as far as this business is concerned that he's created, the citizens of McKinney are lucky, because it gets awful hot here. And we've got somebody we can go to when we have issues affecting our HVAC systems and what have you. We've got somebody we can count on.
When we found out we were being recognized for the Hall of Fame, I think he admitted, probably for the first time, I finally have been recognized for the dedication more than anything. And he's very much dedicated to Carrier, has been from day one.
We believe in Carrier. Carrier is Bill Joplin's Compressor Services. Compressor Services is Carrier.
The story of him starting from scratch and starting this business and bringing it to where it is today, a leader in the industry in this part of the world, and then to get this award, that's a reason for McKinney to celebrate. We need to celebrate that day, and we're proud of that day. It's Bill's day, but it's kind of McKinney's day too. McKinney's grown up around Bill with this business. So I, Thad Helsley, as a Mayor Pro Tem for the city of McKinney, Texas, would like to declare the 8th day of February 2008 as Bill Joplin Day in McKinney, Texas. Bill, come in.
Carrier means 24 hours a day, 7 days a week since 1981. He's had all kinds of opportunity with other companies to come in and represent their brands, but it's Carrier that has had faith in him, had a relationship with him, and has meant so much to him. And he's told a lot of the younger dealers, you stand there and do not give up, and fight for Carrier.
we welcome Bill Joplin.
Turn the music off. You know, Mitchell said so many things that are so appropriate, and a lot of this is reiteration, but it is such, this industry is such a team game that, you know, me alone and behind the podium is not really appropriate. I mean, we're here because of the team that we run or we manage or we quarterback or whatever it is you want to call it, but we are successful because of the players that come with us that we brought to the playing field. And I'll introduce my own, and I've got some family and other non-family people. Mike Latour is my president. He's my son. Brent Fowler is my executive VP. Jan Hopper is my vice president. I've got my son Jason with me. Judson, my daughter Charlotte Bitts. And, you know, and other daughter-in-laws that are here with me. And my original territory rep, actually, that started with Carrier about the same year I came, which was 1981. I became a dealer, and I think Dave went to work for me in 81 and retired about 6 years ago. But really, as an example of the dedication, not only of dealers to Carrier, but of Carrier back to dealers, is Dave Bloomer and his wife Judy. Now, here's a guy that's been retired from Carrier for 6 years, but he paid his own way up here just to honor me and be with me at this ceremony, and I'll never forget that. I didn't know you were still alive till you came. You know, just briefly, it's just like Mitchell said, this is an overwhelming honor that when you start, I mean, you don't ever expect this to happen to you. And I think it's a great thing that Carrier has started. I think it's a tradition that they should continue because I think it does exemplify and bring to focus the need for quality, professional dealers in this industry, which we all know that we lack. I mean, we are professional dealers. I know we are in this room, but we know who our competitors are, and for all practical purposes, they are not. And so I'm proud to be represented along with the other inductees to be someone who can maybe, you know, express a professional attitude towards this industry, which needs more professionals in it. Tell you one quick story, and I'll get off of here, but I never turned a wrench. I've been a salesman basically all my life. Went to college, ended up in Houston, Texas, and was a general manager for a medium-sized Carrier dealer down there in the 70s for about 7 or 8 years. And in 1978, my father died at the age of 63. And he had just retired the year before, and 1 year later he died. And I'm down in Houston chasing the dollar. I'm ambitious. I want to get ahead. I'm doing everything I can. And when my father died, some of my values changed. And I decided that it just isn't worth all this. So I picked my family up and we moved back to my hometown of McKinney, Texas. Back then it was 13,000 people. And once we got settled in, I had to find something to do, and I was not going to go back into the dealer business. I knew that. I wanted something that I didn't have the stress. I didn't have the day-to-day things that just go on with running a business. And so, for lack of a better descriptive word, I became more or less an air conditioning junk dealer, meaning that I would buy recip compressors, chiller barrels, air-cooled condensers, and I ended up having a couple of 100-ton units on float trailers that I rented. I was a one-man show. I had no employees, no overhead, no medical, no benefits. It was good. You know, and I'm standing here tonight wondering, what the hell did I do? But, I mean, it really was good. It was. But I learned in about November of 1980, I think it was, about 2 years later, that the local carrier dealer had gone out of business. And out of simple curiosity, without even thinking, I reached over and I grabbed that phone. Before I knew it, I was talking to the carrier distributor in Dallas, Texas. And the next thing I knew was that back then it took more than signing a piece of paper and signing a pledge. And so it took like a week or two, and the next thing I knew, I'm standing over at the office of Bink Machella, who was an independent distributor at that time. I'm sure people in this room, a lot of them knew Bink. And he was the president of that particular distributor. And he gave me the go-ahead and gave me the dealership in McKinney, Texas in fall of 1980. And honestly and sincerely, when I realized that I had the dealership in my hometown, I felt like that's when I really got into the Carrier Hall of Fame. Because in my dealings as this junk dealer, and I was traveling Texas and Louisiana and Oklahoma, I knew every dealer of every brand in most cities. And there was not a manufacturer that I ever could have identified other than Carrier, because they were, in fact, the most professional, dedicated, knowledgeable group of guys in the world. And now here I am one. And so now, standing here at the podium looking at you guys and knowing that I'm frankly here by accident in such a way that it was just a phone call that was a curiosity thing that got me into the business. But 30 years later, looking back, that phone call that I made without due process of decision ended up changing my life. And it changed my wife's life. It changed the life and actually the careers of my 4 children. That phone call really determined who my best friends would be in the Carrier network, what parts of the world I would see, and ultimately who I would be, what my entire life would be, my events of my life, my whole career. So it's not necessarily the most important and drastic decisions you make in life. Sometimes just a coincidental phone call can change your life. Let me end by just saying that I want to especially thank Carrier South Central and Joanne Twingy, Tim Buford, Kay, Brad, and that whole bunch, and Glenn Geltmeyer for nominating me. I don't know why they did. I really don't know how I don't know why I got selected by the committee after that, but I did. And finally, in closing, and man, I like Mitchell saying this, that you got to give credit to the one that really brought you here, don't you? And they always say that behind every successful man, there is a strong woman. And I will tell you that my wife has got to be the daughter of Hercules.
especially in those early years, the hard times, the no cash times, the no customer times, can't pay the carrier on time times. You've all been there. I'm still there sometimes. But for all those times, baby, you can put this on a chain and wear it around your neck. Thank y'all.